So what we have done in previous lecture is we have started with AS10, that is property, plant and equipment. In this lecture we are going to continue with AS10 PPE, and we will try that will complete PPE in this particular lecture. So let us start what we have done in first lecture. Try to understand. All right, whether to capitalize the expenditure or not. So whether the expenditure should be treated as PPE or not. So what we did was recognition criteria. And if it is to be capitalized, which all expenditure should be included and which all expenditure should be excluded. So inclusion and exclusion. These are the major 2 points that we have done in first part of AS10. We are starting with current lecture, whereby we will be learning method of recording PP. We have done a general idea in previous lecture, but here we will be going in detail. So how you can record your fixed asset? How to record? We are not talking about methods of depreciation. We are talking about methods of recording the assets. One is cost model. Another is a revaluation model. Cost model you are following since your 11th 12th standard foundation, so it will be somewhat easy. Revaluation model is somewhat new for you. Sorry. Let us first go to cost model. See, practically cost model is also divided into two parts. One is the simple method, another is accumulated depreciation method. So simple method and accumulated depreciation method. What happens in accumulated depreciation method is every year the asset is shown at cost. I'll explain you both the methods. Let us first understand one simple method. On 1/1/2010, I have purchased an asset worth rupees 1 lakh or PPE worth rupees 1 lakh. Is that all right? I need to depreciate it. It is scrap value 0 and I need to depreciate it over 10 years. So we all know SLM straight line method. Every year my depreciation will be 1 lakh divided by 10, that is 10,000 rupees. That is per annum depreciation. Alright. So what will happen is this. In first year, so this is first year, second year and third year. In first year, in P&L account, 10,000 rupees will be debited as expenditure. Your balance sheet will show a value of 90,000. What is 90,000? Written down value. Or what is 90,000 is carrying amount. The amount which is written in outer column of balance sheet is carrying amount. Sorry. Profit and loss account in second year will be also debited by 10,000 rupees. Aman, can you help me out? What will be balance sheet figure? Fast. 80,000. Good. A third year. Darshita. Profit and loss account?
70,000.
What will be in profit and loss account? How much will be debited in P&L account debit side?
10,000.
10,000 as expense. And what will be balance sheet figure? 70,000. Yes, it is correct. So this is a normal method of depreciation that we have followed since last 3 years. Alright. Now what is accumulated depreciation? Try to concentrate. In the same example, let us write down first, second and third year. In first year, profit and loss account will be debited by 10,000 rupees as expenditure. Is that all right? What journal entry will be passed? Try to concentrate. P&L account debit 10,000 rupees to accumulated depreciation. 10,000 rupees. Is it all right? So there will be a new credit balance. As it is credit, it will be shown on liability side, and the figure will be 10,000 rupees. So P&L will be debited by 10,000 rupees, accumulated depreciation will be credited by 10,000 rupees, and balance sheet asset side, the asset will be shown at rupees 1 lakh. Let me first complete all 3 years and then we'll be discussing some more. In second year also, I will be debiting 10,000 rupees of P&L account. Accumulated depreciation 10,000 rupees will be added. So the balance will become 20,000 rupees. This is accumulated depreciation. And balance sheet will show 1 lakh rupees as asset, which is the only one journal entry which I am passing is P&L account debit to accumulated depreciation every year. Third year also 10,000 rupees will be debited to P&L account. My balance of accumulated depreciation will be 30,000 and asset will be at 1 lakh rupees. In all 3 years, asset is 1 lakh rupees. Bhavya, can you give me the answer? What is 1 lakh rupees?
Sir, 1 lakh rupees is the book value of
Book value or original cost of the asset?
original cost.
Original cost of the
book value, right?
And so every year it will be also treated as book value, but book value is always cost of the asset when you provide a method of depreciation which is nothing but accumulated depreciation. Is it all right? So I have written over here, it is written on liability side of balance sheet, but believe me, there is a tradition that if this is a balance sheet and say this is balance sheet of third year, what is the value of asset is 1 lakh rupees? And there is a tradition that instead of writing accumulated depreciation of 30,000, sir, where you have taken this 30,000 from? Over here. Accumulated depreciation 30,000 written over here, there is a tradition, it is deducted from here. Accumulated depreciation 30,000. And outer column still what is written is 70,000. Don't get confused. Your carrying amount is still rupees 1 lakh and accumulated depreciation is 30,000. Is it all right? So you cannot say carrying amount is 70,000. Carrying amount is still 1 lakh with accumulated depreciation of 30,000. Is it all right? When the asset is sold, we have done it in the cash flow statement also, single entry also. And what happens to accumulated depreciation if the asset is sold? The full accumulated depreciation is to be reversed. All right. So this is a cost model where you treat only cost as your expenditure, and if there is increase or decrease in value of the asset, if there is a decrease in value of the asset, you will have to write down impairment loss. If there is increase in value of the asset, that increased value cannot be recorded. What can be recorded is only cost of the asset in balance sheet. Which model? First model, that is nothing but cost model. Start it. Second model is a revaluation model. Try to concentrate a simple answer. I have purchased asset in year 0, 0 year is today. Start. At the rate of rupees 1 lakh. Same example I am repeating. There was a depreciation of first year of 10,000. Depreciation of a second year of 10,000. And depreciation of third year of 10,000 rupees. What is the WDV or written down value at the end of third year? Is 70,000. Which asset is this? Is a building. Not land and building. Land is not depreciated. Building is depreciated. Is it all right? WDV as on third year is 70,000. Is it all right? Now, you hire a valuer to find out what is the market value of this building or what is the real value of this building as on today. Start it. The valuer says that your value of the building as on this date, say this is 1/4/2021, and you have done a valuation, and the valuer says that your value of the building today is 1,20,000. AS10, if other all conditions are satisfied, allows you to increase the value of the asset to 1,20,000. Is it alright? How it will be increased? Try to concentrate. You will be adding 50,000 rupees to this asset. How? I will be also giving you the journal entry, but this 50,000 is revaluation reserve or revaluation surplus as written in AS10. Now, you cannot just add. Your WDV in balance sheet is 70,000. If you want to make it 1,20,000, you'll have to pass a journal entry. And which journal entry is passed? Try to understand. It is a building account debit to revaluation surplus. By how much amount? 50,000. Building will be added by 50,000 rupees. On liability side of balance sheet, under your equity, that is under your capital, you will be adding 50,000 rupees on liability side of balance sheet. So asset side also 50,000 has increased, liability side also 50,000 has increased. Is it permitted? The answer is yes. We will be learning the rules. Who should increase the value of the asset? By which method you should decide that what is your current value? When the review should be done every year or every 2 months or every 5 months. Everything we are going to learn of revaluation model. But try to understand from now onwards, your book value is 1,20,000 and further depreciation will be provided on rupees 1,20,000. By whichever method you are providing depreciation, now onwards you will be providing depreciation on 1,20,000 rupees. Alright. So this is how revaluation model works. What are the other journal entries? Every time, sir, it is revaluation surplus. If the value of the asset was coming to 50,000 rupees, then what journal entry is to be passed? Everything that we are going to learn. First, understand how to determine the fair value or revalued value. Determination of a fair value. Situation number 1. Normally, it should be done by professionally qualified valuer. So valuer are normally lawyers. In the case of loan, they are lawyers, but they can be engineers also. A professionally qualified valuer will be valuing your asset, and this is a normal case. But if it is not possible in this manner, then it can be done by income approach. Now it is better to do this in financial management subject rather than in AS10. What you do is you find out your future income and you find out the present value of that future income, and you value your asset in finance in this manner, which is permitted even by AS10. That to revalue your asset, you can use that particular method. But normally try to understand, if in market there is an evidence or the market value can be found out by this method, it should be normally found out by this method. Sorry. So this is determination of fair value. Number 2 is how frequently it should be revalued. So if the asset is significant significant in the case of use also, in the case of value also, and volatile. So the asset value is changing now and then it should be done yearly. So every year you will have to hire a professional valuer who will be valuing the assets. And in another case, or any other case, it should be 3 to 5 years. So you can wait for 3 years and then again revalue your asset, or wait for 5 years and again revalue your asset. That's it. All right. One thing you need to understand when you are revaluing your asset, you cannot revalue individual assets. You need to revalue whole class of assets. So if you are revaluing your one building, you will have to revalue all your buildings. If you are revaluing your one computer, you will have to revalue all your computers. You cannot do, yes, you can do this. In 1 year, you will be revaluing all the buildings. In second year, you will be revaluing all your computers. This can be done based upon this. All right. But try to understand, you cannot just revalue one particular individual asset. Is it all right? Next is, yes, you need to revalue your entire class. All right. We are going to learn important point, which is a treatment. Try to understand the revaluation is done for first time. If it is for first time, it can be upward revaluation. It can be downward revaluation. Upward revaluation, I have given you just the journal entry. Let me also write down that journal entry. It is a PPE account debit to revaluation surplus or revaluation reserve. You can write it down. Is it all right? This is how upward revaluation is done. How downward revaluation is done? All of you understand asset is to be credited. If you want to reduce the value of the asset, it is to be credited. And what is debited is a profit and loss. So when you are doing it a first time, this is how you revalue your asset. If you want to increase the value of the asset, PPE will be debited and revaluation reserve or revaluation surplus will be credited. And if it is downward revaluation, for the first time, directly what you do is debit it to profit and loss account. Is it all right? Next is a subsequent revaluation. Now in subsequent revaluation also, previously asset was upward revalued or previously asset was downward revalued. If it was upward revalued, previously asset was upward revalued, and now it is downward revalued. What will be journal entry? Try to understand. Now it is downward revalued, so we need to credit to PP. We know that we need to debit P&L account because that is downward revaluation. We normally debit P&L account. But try to understand. Previously it was upward revalued. So there is a revaluation surplus credit balance already available for this particular asset. That's all right. Then first you need to debit that revaluation surplus. Debit. And if there is any remaining balance, it should be debited to P&L account. So previously you have created the surplus that can be utilized over here. All right. And remaining amount should be debited to P&L account, and whatever reduction you want, you can easily reduce from it. All right. Now previously asset was downward revalued and now it is upward revalued. Upward revaluation, PPE account is debited. Is it all right? What is credited? Revaluation surplus or revaluation reserve. Is it all right? Try to understand here also there is one point. When you have previously downward revalued it, you have debited P&L account say by 10 rupees. Then now you should credit P&L account by 10 rupees. Whatever was the amount for this particular asset should be first used from P&L account. Remaining amount should be transferred to revaluation reserve, and your PPE will be upward revalued. That is, your asset value will increase. So it is very simple. If it was previously downward revalued by 10,000 rupees and now it is revalued upwards, so up till 10,000 rupees, you should credit your P&L account because previously P&L account was debited. Is all right. And if it was first upward revalued, then you are having a balance of revaluation surplus in credit. So you should utilize that particular surplus as far as the downward revaluation now is concerned. Is all right. So this is a treatment of revaluation surplus. See, there will be not n numbers of sums. I hope all of you are absolutely clear with it. Anyone having doubt in it? Yes, Aman?
Sir, after last lecture you said that the C follows cash system of accounting. So do they do this like treatment of upward and downward revaluation of assets? Because in this the cash is not involved. Like only the revaluation is there.
Correct. See, whenever it is PPE and depreciation, is it all right? See, what is cash system of accounting? You record your income and expenditure whenever the cash is paid and cash is received. Is it all right? That does not include depreciation. Depreciation is writing off your asset. So even if you are following your cash system of accounting, then also you will have to write down your depreciation to get your true net profit. Otherwise, your profit and loss account, if you are recording only cash, it will show only cash profit. Is it all right? Which is not an ultimate objective of profit and loss account. So you need to record depreciation even if it is cash method of accounting. The answer is yes. Is it all right? Even if the depreciation is not paid in cash. Now, the question comes, if I am following cash system of accounting, can I use this revaluation method? The answer is absolutely yes. Is it all right? See, in cost system also, you are using this revaluation. Can you ultimately what is added to this? What is added to this particular value is nothing but in cost. All right. So whether you are following cash system, non-cash system, ultimately nothing is paid. What is this? This is what, see, what happens sometimes is why there is a revaluation method is important to understand your question and to understand the answer of that question. See what used to happen. This is my balance sheet. Building account 10 rupees. There are other assets and my total of balance sheet is coming to 1,10,010 rupees. Is it all right? Why? What used to happen was the revaluation was not at all permissible. You can record in your books of accounts only cost. So you have learned in your 11th standard cost concept. You cannot see, this is against conservatism concept. You are recording something which you are not receiving. You are crediting revaluation reserve, means you are recording income, writing it on liability side as your equity, but it is not actually received. Is it all right? Or you have not done some expenditure on it. Is it all right? But what used to happen is, this building was purchased before 25 years for 1 lakh rupees, and it depreciated value is coming to 10 rupees right now. Is it all right? What is the market value of this building is 50 crores. Can you show this in your books of account previously? Right now you can revalue. Previously the answer was no. Sorry. What will happen? Aman, you can only give me the answer. What will happen if I see this balance sheet?
Not get a true and fair
Not
view
get a
because-
true and fair view and a good idea that this business is very big. Are you getting it? If by seeing this balance sheet, someone would feel that, okay, he is a very poor person, having a total of balance sheet of 1 lakh and a capital of say 50,000. Is it all right? But they don't know that the asset which is valued at 10 rupees in balance sheet is right now worth rupees 50 crore. So now what is permitted? You are allowed to add 50 crores over here, and there will be revaluation surplus of 50 crore. Whether you are following cash system of accounting, whether you are not following cash system of accounting, this is allowed as per AS 10. There is no concern about cash paid or cash not paid. In any of the case, ultimately, if you are not incurring cost, you cannot add something over here. In non-cash system also, say mercantile system also, you cannot add something if you are not paying for it. Is it all right? So asset can be added only if you are incurring the cost. Here it is added even if the cost is not incurred, whether you follow cash system or mercantile system of accounting. Hope your question is clear. Any other question as far as this is concerned? All right. So we have understood the treatment, and let me take a couple of examples to solve it. Is it all right? Try to concentrate. My book value of the asset currently is 1000 rupees. Is it all right? This is first time revaluation happening, and there is an accumulated depreciation of say 400 rupees. All right. Try to concentrate the gross value of the asset. This is the gross value. This is the net value. Start. Net value of the asset right now is 600 rupees, which is ultimately becoming 1500 rupees. So there is increase in value of the asset. And what is the new value? New revalued value is 1500 rupees. The question is how much the gross portion has increased. The gross portion has increased by 1500 rupees. It is becoming 2500 rupees. That's all right. Try to understand. I will have to provide for this addition of the asset. What is the accumulated depreciation if the gross amount was 1000? Is 400? How much value has increased is 1500? How much value has increased is 1500. The total is becoming 2500. This has increased by 150%. If 1000 rupees is 100%, then 1500 rupees is increased by 150%. Then your accumulated depreciation should also increase by 150%. 150% of 400 is nothing but 600. So when you are adding 1500 rupees to your asset, you will have to add 600 rupees to your accumulated depreciation. Is it all right? And ultimately, this will become 1000 and you will be carrying your asset at 1500 rupees, or you will be carrying your asset as 2500 rupees with the accumulated depreciation of 1000. Try to concentrate the present situation. 1000 rupees was gross value or cost, and accumulated depreciation was 400. Try to understand what journal entry will be passed. PPE account debit or asset account will be debited. Asset account debit. By how much? 1500 rupees. So asset value will increase by 1500 rupees. 2. Revaluation surplus? Yes. But you need to also increase your accumulated depreciation by 600 rupees. So you need to credit accumulated depreciation by 600 rupees. Is it all right? And so the revaluation surplus will be only 900. This journal entry will be passed in this scenario. Is it all right? And this is the journal entry which should be passed as far as the scenario is concerned. Is it all right? Now, the question arises, sir, why there is a gain of only 900 rupees? Can anyone tell me how this 900 rupees came from this particular example? It is difference of what? Anyone who puts in the mic first, I'll ask them. How does 900, why there is a profit of 900 by this revaluation? There is a revaluation profit of 900.
Sir, new revaluation value is 1500
Yes.
and the net value of asset was 600.
Net value was 600. Try to understand it was 1000, but it is a gross value. You have already provided in your P&L account 400 rupees. So right now the net value, if you see the asset, is only 600. I'm not saying it is carrying amount, but it is net value is 600. Now revalued at 1500 rupees. What is the gap is 900 rupees is nothing but revaluation surplus. Is it all right? Now the answer would have, see this, I have taken an example of accumulated depreciation. If I take a normal example, there was a cost of asset of 1000 which was already depreciated at 700 and the book value was 300. That's all right. And now this asset is revalued at rupees 500. So what is the revaluation profit? 200 rupees is revaluation profit. What is the journal entry that will be passed? PPE account debit to revaluation surplus. All right. When to use revaluation surplus, when to use P&L account, we have already understood. All right. If this is first time, it is initial, or it is subsequent, it is increase or reduction, and all the points can be covered from this particular chart. But this is how normally there is a revaluation which happens as far as accumulated depreciation is concerned, as far as the normal case. If it is a normal case, believe me, the answer will be absolutely easy. And this will be by only 200 rupees. There is no concept of accumulated depreciation because you are recording your asset at cost minus depreciation. So this will be how you will be recording your revaluation. Or revaluation surplus. Now, instead of revaluation surplus, if you use the word revaluation reserve, it is all right. The answer is absolutely yes. We are going to next point, your favorite point, which is depreciation. Before going to depreciation, anyone having doubt in revaluation? Any doubt in revaluation? I hope you have also understood why we revalue the asset. Is it right? I told you the size of the balance sheet should look big if the business is carrying an asset of 50 crore rupees. Even if the book value is 10 rupees, then showing 50 crore rupees on asset side and 50 crore rupees on liability side gives a true and fair view to the readers of financial statement. We are going for another concept, which is depreciation. Now, there might be deviations as far as your understanding of depreciation is concerned, because some of you might be absolutely comfortable with it, some of you might not be comfortable with it, but I will be doing some of the concept of depreciation in the class. First point I'm taking is a treatment of past. Treatment of past. So you have purchased the machinery which you are already depreciating, and you purchase another part. A simple concept of AS10 which says if part is separable, and in this case it will be separable. Why it is separable? You purchased it afterwards, the cost of the part can be determined. If the part is separable, it should be depreciated separately from, even if the rate is same, the depreciation concept is same, the asset is same, but the part can be depreciated separately. Is it all right? So this first point which I think is relevant for discussion. All right. Number 2. There are two assets or a combined assets, land and building. What is the rule? Rule says it should be separated. Land, practically no depreciation. We all know land is not a depreciable asset. Is it all right? And building should be depreciated as per relevant method and as per relevant rate. Is it all right? Now concentrate, sometimes this happens. I purchase a land and building together at a rate of 1 crore rupees. What is the part of land and what is the part of building? How to determine? All right. Because land is not depreciable, you will have to separate it. Is it all right? Again, the same concept, you can find out a valuer who will tell you the market value of land. Remaining portion will be market value of building. Is it all? But should it be separated? The answer is yes. You cannot depreciate land and building together. Is it all right? So building should be separated and land should be separated. Yes. Third is, if the land is having limited useful life, even land will be depreciated. When the land is having limited useful life, say you are having a lease land of iron ore for say 50 years. As per PPE, you are the owner of the asset. You will be learning it in intangible assets. So if you are owner of the asset, can you depreciate it? The answer is yes. Land. And how many years it will be depreciated? For 50 years. And based upon appropriate method, you will be depreciating even the land. Because after 50 years, that cost which you have incurred to take that land on rent or on lease will be fully depreciated or will be fully utilized. All right. So in that case, even land can be depreciated. All right. Depreciation, where it should be recorded. It is very simple. It should be recorded on P&L account debit side. All right. But there are some cases when it is not recorded on P&L account debit side. if the asset for which you are providing depreciation is used for manufacturing another asset, then depreciation should be added to cost of asset. Depreciation should be added to cost of asset. There is also another, if asset is used for development activities, so practically the expenditure you have done on the asset is for say goodwill or any other intangible assets. All right, then you will be learning AS 26 intangible assets. This concept will be utilized, and the cost of depreciation, rather than debiting it to profit and loss account, you will be debiting it to some other intangible asset. It will be much clearer when you will be doing AS 26. All right. Right now, it is sufficient that depreciation is debited to P&L account. Next is, we all know to record the depreciation, the useful life of or number of years, what we say, is important. So how to decide depreciation period? Now we know you just need to estimate for how many years this asset will be used and will be useful. But understand, we need to go technically. It should be from this date up to this date. From which date? From the date when it is available for use. Up till which date? Asset is retired or sold or derecognized. I'll tell you what is the meaning of derecognized, because that is our next point, derecognition and impairment. All right. So this is the period for depreciation. You need to estimate when you will be selling this or when you will be derecognizing this, and the date when you start to use it. All right. This period will be treated as depreciation period. Next, we are going to permissible methods. Methods of depreciation. I'm assuming you are very comfortable with this all methods: SLM, WDV, written down value method, straight line method. Another, it is units of production method. See, when your asset wear and tear or the asset's depreciation practically is based upon use of that particular asset, you can use this method of depreciation. All right. Say a machinery can produce, machinery of 1 lakh rupees can produce 10,000 units in total. So this is its total capacity. All right. So what is the per unit cost? It is nothing but 10 rupees. So in first year, you have manufactured only 100 units. How much depreciation you will provide? 1,000 rupees. In second year, you have manufactured say 3,000 units. How much depreciation you will provide? 30,000 Based upon unit manufactured, you will be providing depreciation. This is nothing but unit of production method. Is it all right? So as per AS10, there are only three methods which are permitted: SLM, WDV, unit of production method. And specifically, I am not going into detail as far as SLM and WDV is concerned, because I feel that it is very easy and you have done it n numbers of times at your lower level. Only one point to revise. It is rate of depreciation as per WDV method. Rate of depreciation as per WDV method. You can directly use the formula. The rate will be is equal to 1 minus, it is 1 minus under root n scrap value upon cost multiplied by. Sir, what is this? If you put all your variables, cost, scrap value, number of years, all your variables in this formula, you will be getting rate of depreciation as per WDV method. See, now what happens at your lower standard is they have directly given the rate. Depreciate the asset by 10% WDV. Is it correct? And you find out depreciation by 10% WDV. But what happens is, how to find out that 10% is nothing but by this formula. You can just remember this formula back of your mind if sometimes it is helpful. Yes, of course, if this is 5 years, they need to give either log table or some mathematical answers of this particular thing. You cannot directly find out in calculator except n is 2 years. If it is 2 years, under root is available in your calculator. Otherwise, you will require some another scientific calculator or log table to solve this particular formula. But this formula is basically to find out rate of depreciation. Start. We are going to, if there is change in accounting estimates or accounting policy. Say WDV is converted into SLM is policy. Estimates are 5 years is converted into 7 years. Both are dealt in by accounting standard 5. So even if it is of asset or of any other thing, it is dealt in by accounting standard 5, which you will be learning in group 2. So we are not absolutely covering it over here. But there are some questions of depreciation which are included in AS10 also. They are part of AS10 plus AS5. But we will be doing it, and believe me, it will be very much simple. Sorry. We are going to question number 59, page number 16.19. It is 59. An entity purchased an assets 4 years back for rupees 1 lakh. And it is minus 4 years. With an estimate useful life of 10 years and nil residual value. So the depreciation every year provided will be 10,000 rupees. That is 1 lakh minus 0 divided by 10. That is 10,000 rupees. The entity has charged a depreciation using SLM at 10,000 rupees per annum. Alright. So 4 years depreciation will be 40,000. And WDV today will be 60,000. This year, the management reviews the estimated life and decides that the asset will be probably useful for further 4 years, and the total life is revised to 8 years. All right. Now, how many years are still pending? It is 6 years. But management reviews the estimate. that this will not be 6 years. This will be now only 4 years. Install it. And therefore the total life is revised to 8 years. How 8 years? 4 years have already passed and 4 years now. How should the depreciation be computed for remaining years? Now, try to understand when you will be learning AS5, they will say you that if there is a change in accounting estimate, it should be done prospectively. What does this mean? Forget about the past. Only think about the future. Now, how much cost is pending to be debited into P&L account? 60,000. As per your new estimate, how many years are pending? 4 years. There is no revision in scrap value. So your new depreciation, there is no change in method. So method remains SLM. It is cost minus scrap divided by number of years. What is the cost remaining to be depreciated is 60,000 minus 0. How many number of years are still pending? 6. No. They are only 4 years. So this will be 15,000 rupees per annum for next 4 years. Do you understand this? Prospectively, whatever changes we are doing it in future. We are not doing it in past. Past is already gone. All right. This is known as a prospectively. And when you affect your past also, it is known as a retrospectively. But whenever there is a change in accounting estimate, it is always a prospectively. This we have not done because it is covered under AS. Next, question number 60. A machine was acquired at rupees 4 lakh with expected useful life of 10 years and residual estimate at 10% of the original cost, that is 40,000. At the end of third year, so we are at the end of third year, 0 year it is 4 lakhs. Every year depreciation will be 4 lakh minus 40,000 divided by 10. This is 36,000 minus depreciation for 3 years. 36,000 into this is 1,08,000. WDV after 3 years is a 2,92,000. Let us read it. An attachment was made to the machine at a cost of 1,80,000. There is an attachment. Today, that is after 3 years, and the attachment is of 1,80,000 spare parts. To enhance its capacity, the attachment was expected to have a useful life of 10 years and 0 terminal value. During the same time, the original machine was revalued upwards by 90,000 rupees. So what journal entry will be passed? Asset account debit to revaluation surplus if this asset is revalued for first time. How much revaluation is done? Upward revaluation of 90,000 rupees. So what is new value of the asset? It is a 3,82,000. This is after 3 years, which is nothing but today. During the same time, it was and the remaining useful life was reassessed by 9 years. See, if nothing is given, remaining useful life is 7 years. But now, how 7 years? Originally it was 10. Now 3 years have passed, so remaining is 7. But this is also reassessed and it is made to how you will provide for depreciation. Is it alright? Now try to concentrate. For this, the provision for depreciation will be like this. And the residual value is reassessed to 0. So this is reassessed to 9 years and this is reassessed to 0. So this asset will now be having a depreciation of cost 3,82,000 minus scrap value 0 divided by number of years 9, which is 3,82,000 divided by 9, which is 42,444. Addition or some attachment to the asset, the depreciation is provided separately. How it will be provided? 1,80,000, scrap value is 0, number of years is 10, and so it will be 18,000 rupees depreciation per annum. This is also depreciation per annum. Total depreciation will be total of this two. That's all right. This was question number 60. These are easy questions. Not much to do in it. All right. When not to provide depreciation? So there is an asset, it is lying in your business, so it is not sold or it is not destroyed. If it is sold and destroyed, you don't provide depreciation. But it is lying in your business and still you don't provide the depreciation. It is not written in AS, but if we derive, there are only two cases. Number one, when asset is fully depreciated. So if 1 lakh rupees is a asset and you have already written down depreciation of 1 lakh rupees, there is no possibility of revaluation, but the asset is still used in your business, the depreciation will be 0. And if the production is nil, and you use production unit method of depreciation, then you don't provide depreciation. Correct. Now try to concentrate on this particular point. Why this I have written and why it is important is, when you will be writing your exams, normally they'll ask you practical questions. And the questions will be like this. The company follows written down value method of depreciation. In current year, because of coronavirus, there was no manufacturing. Should you depreciate the asset or not? The answer is yes. Depreciation is not only concerned with use of asset. It is also dependent upon obsolescence. It is also the asset is becoming old. Is it alright? So wear and tear is happening because time passes. So the depreciation should be provided. And I have seen n numbers of questions whereby this is always asked. If asset is not, yes, if you use this method and the production is nil, you may not provide depreciation. Is it alright? But if you are not using this method, even if there is no production, even if the plant is closed, the depreciation is to be provided. Is it alright? Alright, last. What are the factors which should be considered to determine useful life of asset? We are just writing it down one by one. They are very easy. Usage of asset. You need to forecast for how many years this asset will be used. Physical wear and tear. So there are some assets which are of iron. The wear and tear might be less. Some assets which might be of plastic, wear and tear might be more. Technical and commercial obsolescence. What is obsolescence? the asset becoming useless because the technology has changed. All right. Say in today's era, if I purchase mobile today, it becomes useless after 2 years, or it becomes obsolete after 2 years. All right. Then the machinery which is manufacturing that asset might also become obsolete. All right. So technical and commercial obsolescence should be considered when you decide the useful life of an asset. Legal and other terms. So again, you have taken land on lease. If it is for 10 years, the useful life of asset will be 10 years. All right. So those are the factors that should be considered when you consider useful life of asset, when you are deciding how much and by which method you should provide the depreciation. All right. So this is end of part 2 of AS10. We'll have to take one more lecture for AS10, and we'll be in next lecture. What we'll be doing is we will be completing last point, which is impairment derecognition, impairment and derecognitions, where impairment is covered by another AS and derecognitions is another point that we'll be doing.